and that's the problem. And I'll tell you something that my daddy told me before he left this world is never chase buses or women. You'll always get left behind, and believe half of what you can read, or nothing that you read, and half of what you hear. That's all.
Oh, on another note, okay, so
I was saying that's off
let's
the
start with,
table.
on another note, let's start with Gerald on this one, man. With all the things, man, that everything's going on, and people are like, you know, criticizing cops and just, you know, attacking them, man. Do you think they're just gonna stop being cops? I mean, what are we looking at? What do you think's gonna happen? You know what I mean?
Well, recently, some police officers haven't been showing up to riots, you know, and peaceful protests that have progressed into rioting. They're not showing up to that, which they shouldn't. I think the cops that are cops now, I think a lot of them are going to continue to be police officers, and they're going to continue to do their job because they know how they have a duty. They know when they are when they're on, they're to be being police officers. Are police officers going to stop being cops? Yes, because you're not going to have police officers anymore, and you're not going to have to defund them anymore because nobody's going to sign up. Nobody's going to become a cop anymore. Nobody wants to be a cop. Why would you? So they're not even going to have to worry about defunding the police because there aren't going to be any police, because why would you want to be a police officer? Why would anyone want to be a police officer with a pretty menial starting salary when you could go do something else that's safe and you're not getting ridiculed for every day, and you don't have to worry about, you know, if somebody's going to come and shoot you in the back of the head.
Lewis, what are your thoughts, man?
Yeah, man. So, I mean, obviously, I think I'd have to agree with Gerald. Right now, this is the worst time to be a cop since the Wild Wild West, man. You know, back then, I think lawmen used to get the same kind of ridicule, and they were challenged on a daily basis. And so we're seeing this all over again in a different level, right? Because police officers have had to be so worried like they are now in a long time. And this is national, you know what I mean? Because I remember as a soldier, and when I was in overseas, if I went to any part of where there's anybody, I mean, you know, especially a very busy city, I was paranoid, right? I was constantly checking my surroundings. I was looking at people like I've never have. You know, I was really paying attention to what people were doing, and I got a eye for certain behaviors. And so I think it's the same way for police officers. Right now, you have to be very paranoid about who's around you, who's parked next to you, who pulls up to you on a red light. Can you imagine living your life like that in your own country? So to touch up on what
You want
Jared
to
said,
talk about PTSD or anything like that, you're going to have it. And
yeah,
who wants to be checking their six, you know, 59 out of 60 minutes, you know, an hour, you know? Nobody can do that as a career. You know, you can do that for a little while, but mentally that's going to take such an effect on you that you can't do it. And as far as just the mental warfare of it on you all day long, you can't do that.
right.
David, what are your thoughts, man?
I mean, I imagine you're talking about the defunding the police initiative.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
those are all buzzwords. I mean, they really are. I mean, like I said, it's all clickbait. Um, the truth is that we've been defunding the police all along. We've been defunding social services all along. EMS systems, we all work in tandem to, achieve a goal. I mean, so they've always been defunded or underfunded, and to take them more, I think it's a slippery slope, because if the county, the local municipalities cannot effectively serve, then that's when the government steps in, and that's bad. I mean,
you boys ever seen RoboCop?
exactly.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's awesome.
cinema will definitely come to life. I mean, Arnold Schwarzenegger alone. I mean, come on, he was governor of California.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys have seen those things, but I mean, we're social services, municipalities. They're always defunded, and to defund them more is, I mean, that's just, like, it might be an election year or this. I don't know what it means. I don't think that anybody really knows what that means. It's just something that people say to trigger people. But we have to keep our heads in the game, because we are those people. I mean,
well, there are details, David, just real quick, man. There are details that actually are coming out, especially in Austin, that are saying, this is the amount of money we're taking away from them. And it's something like over $20 million, man. And they're putting into like social services, school, like counseling, education, just trying to. And the thing is, man, that's scary about it is social workers aren't going to want to do this. I mean, how many times, man, have we worked with social workers, man, where they're like, hey, man, that person's crazy. I'm going to need
I mean, who's going to be doing the policing? Right. I mean, the thing is, they already have these programs, the community policing, this and that. I mean, look at George Zimmerman, those issues. I mean, I don't know what it means, and it doesn't mean anything until it does. And trusting news these days is really, really hard, and that's why we're all in such.
Well, see, the thing is also, and this is something that kind of comes good with social media, man, to have that platform, is that you actually see what someone else says and thinks. I'm going to be posting something here in a minute, but they're talking about demolishing our police station in Austin. They're talking about getting rid of it. That's
what are they getting rid of again?
When you look more into it, our mayor Adler said that
not our mayor.
He's taking, he's destroying it, and he's using some of the funds to kind of go into things that they feel that they need, and they're going to move the location to somewhere else, because the location that it's at right now is prime real estate, and they can use a lot of money in that area to kind of make money, I guess, so to speak. And that's, and that's scary. From our point of view, that's kind of something that I never thought that I would see, honestly, but
I mean, absolutely, I get that. I mean, and that's the problem. And I'll tell you something that my daddy told me before he left this world is, never chase buses or women. You'll always get left behind, and believe half of what you can read, or nothing that you read, and half of what you hear. That's all.
Well, this is Adler talking about it. He even had it on his tweets. So I mean,
he's not a great guy, and I mean, I will send you an Adler tweet right now. I mean, I guess. I
mean, I don't know, but
copy paste, and but you're right. It's There's a lot of mis.
Are we saying that
There's a lot of mis. There's a lot.
Are we saying that the tweets aren't accurate, or I mean, what are we saying? Like that he's not saying that?
I'm saying I believe absolutely nothing that I see on a tweet, or because that's not. That's. I mean, it's a shortcut to what we want. I mean, if we want conversation, I mean, all of this stuff that's going on, all of these riots, all of these smashing windows, and all of this stuff, all of it, it needs to end. It's time for discipline and conversation, real conversation, not something that I read.
I mean, you have parents.
I read on this, not for something I read on this.
Parents, you need to whoop your kids. Okay.
Well, that's just it. I mean, we've got a lot of people.
Spare the rod, spoil the child.
We've got a lot of we've got a lot of kids throwing temper tantrums in the street. That's basically what it is. So you're letting little kids throw little temper tantrums, and we're acting like these little brats. We're acting like their voice matters more than others. So you going back to Mayor Adler. It's not Mayor Adler, but there's another guy there in city council. I don't know his name, but you know that he wants to literally blow up, explode the Austin PD station as a gesture of goodwill to the city.
Right.
They're talking about imploding a perfectly good building and moving APD.
Right, that's what I was just talking about.
Else.
Yeah, that's what I was just talking about.
That's bizarre. That's bizarre behavior. Who's going to blow up a building in the name of a good gesture to let a bunch of little spoiled brats have their way?
Right.
So yeah, it's absolutely absurd. I feel sorry for you in Austin, Texas, and anyone else in Travis County, because my God, you've got a long road ahead of you, because Mayor Adler isn't going anywhere. The type of city government is not going anywhere, because nobody's going to vote them out, because everybody in Travis County, majority-wise, is like-minded, and they think when something comes across like blowing up a controlled explosion of the Austin PD is a good idea, you're dealing with mentally ill people in control of your city.
Well, I got to interject on that, Gerald. I think this is my opinion. They're being really smart about this, actually.
Okay.
Because
Make your point.
the young mind is a very gullible thing, and what they're doing is they're playing the long game. They're essentially catering to the young generation, because they know that in the future these minds will carry that same idea on towards that voting age, right? They're going to bring their generation, their kids and their grandkids to think that way, right? So
that's been the Democratic's agenda for the last 30 years.
So we can think that the Democrats are being they're being childish or whatever you want to think. You want to think that they're catering, that they're being immature, but what they're really doing is that they're conditioning the future to think the way they think. And one of those ways is challenging authority. You challenge authority. As a young person, you love that. That's what you live for. That's what gets you off. And that is what the Democrats are playing.